If you're tired of performing badly in exams, here's 8 study tips to improve your grades. Whenever you get an exam back, I want you to go through it and make notes on where you went wrong. Understand why the answer is correct, or how to get the correct answer, and then make a note of this. And also make a note of what topic the question is about. So when it comes to revising for exams, you can use this list and focus your revision on it. But what about the days when you don't feel like studying? It can be easier to get to work when you build momentum. Try completing one simpler goal first. For example, you could use the last tip and review what you studied last time. Not only will this help with retention, but it should help prepare yourself to study. Or it could be to complete one of your easier goals first, like a piece of homework or going through a past exam. This should help build momentum, as once you start doing something that is related to studying, you're probably going to keep on working. And here's a quick bonus tip. You could tell yourself to just work for 5 minutes. Once you have done 5 minutes, you're probably not going to be too bothered whether or not you feel like studying, because you've already started. The most common problem when it comes to doing something is just getting started, and these 5 minutes can help you with that. But what if you want to study, but you're just a little bit tired? The best thing you can do is to study a little bit till you are actually properly tired, and then take a short break. Before the break, it can help if you leave whatever you're doing incomplete, as after the break, you know that you still have some form of work to finish, so you will be more likely to come back to work. And it's important that during the break, you don't do something that would mean you get distracted. I like to do breathing exercises and have food during my breaks. But if you are still tired after, tell yourself that you're just going to do 1 more hour to just get yourself to do a little bit more work. And what about those topics that we just hate? Back during my GCSEs, I hated studying English. This is like 2 tips in 1, but what helped me was that English would be the first thing I studied in the morning. This is because this is when you have the most energy in the day. So if you have more energy, it will be easier to study those subjects that you hate, because you can put more effort into them. And studying it first just gets it out the way, so you don't stress about the fact that you still have to cover that subject for the full day. Another thing that helped me study English is finding a way to enjoy it. You know, for my other subjects like maths and science, I like to answer practice questions, but that just didn't work for English. Instead, I enjoyed watching videos from Mr. Salz, and he actually got me quite interested in English. You know, just looking at all the different perspectives of a quote and stuff. So finding ways to enjoy the subject that you hate or find difficult and studying it first can help. And this tip will probably annoy most of you watching, but it's so effective. Stop trying to read over your notes. The best alternative is to answer practice questions. They help you to retrieve info from your brain, which is exactly what you do in the exam. You don't read notes in an exam, or make flashcards from your notes, as that has the same principles. If you do want to read notes to cram for an exam, like very last minute, I recommend making diagrams about what you read, as you're more likely to remember an image than words. And what about when you get bored of a subject? I'll give you an example. If I get bored of making flashcards, I try to do a different goal that I've set myself for the day. During my GCSEs, when I was bored of maths, I would study geography. So try switching up the subject. This helps you to maintain focus on studying and make the most of your time, because instead, you're probably just going to doodle on paper. It can also help prevent burnout, as it provides variety, which keeps your mind engaged and reduces mental fatigue. And what I also want to tell you is, when I get bored of doing one thing, I like to do a task that was meant to be done tomorrow and do it today instead. This makes the most of my time today, and it frees up time tomorrow where hopefully I'll be less bored of the subject that I'm currently studying. But what about if you cannot memorize info? Here, the idea is that at the end of each day where you do study, make sure you save a little bit of time just to have one review of what you've gone through. This could be having a read of any notes that you've made, or watching a summary video about what you have studied. This helps with memory because it reinforces the information, which solidifies your understanding, meaning you'll be able to remember it for a little bit longer. And this can help before going to sleep as well, as your brain processes and consolidates the info that you've learned when you go to sleep, meaning it will be easier to recall later. The final study tip is for those who want to study for long hours. If you want to try and study for longer, split up your study session into smaller bits. This keeps the amount of information that you learn in each subsession more manageable to take in, so your brain won't be overloaded with content. And then have a break in between, so your brain has time to actually take in what you have studied. I have left one very simple yet effective study tip off this list, and it's one that I incorporated during my A-levels and one that I use in uni right now. And it's so effective that I made a whole video about it, which you can check out now.